Wow, special video. This has just all come together for me right now. One of those moments you feel the little trails of information coming to the ball of the idea. All those little memes coming to the big ball. That's just happened right now while I was brushing my teeth walking around here. So, how to gain superhuman strength from coronavirus. That's the video title. That's what I'm going to go with. You're like, are you sure? You don't want to change your choice? No, that's what I'm going with. Listen to this. This is epic. So, how to gain superhuman strength from coronavirus. Now, it's indirect, not direct. I'm not saying catch corona and you get superhuman strength. I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying by cleanliness is closest to godliness. Right? You know the saying, being clean is next to godliness. Right? Cleanliness is next to godliness is the phrase. So by doing that, so indirectly not obtaining coronavirus, but by staying clean and staying away from it, and boy am I washing. Sometimes a product is just covered in gack from the shop. That's what I call hot, alive, COVID, or coronavirus. And that's when it's active and it's within its food, oil. It loves the stuff. That's what I've noticed, because when I would get oil on my hand, touch something with corona, I'd feel the immediate heat, and I'm talking within seconds, and I could obtain a sneeze within a minute. I could obtain a sneeze and a cough within a minute. I'm very sensitive to this stuff. Now, it's everywhere. It's covering fucking everything. It off-gasses, and this thing, it spreads so gnarly, especially Delta variant would be even more off-gassing. The original COVID I remember back in March 2020 was really thicker. It's thinned out, because as it gasses off, it's expending its energy, right? So it depends what base or substrate of energetic income it has. On the grass with bitters, it's dead. It's dead out here very quickly. On plastic, a plastic pole or a metal pole where people are touching all day, something metal or something, any surface where it doesn't interact with the environment. See, out here at a camping ground, I'm very, very safe and far away from any off-gassing. And say it was to land here, that might be a problem, but because there's so much wind, the problem would be mitigated very quickly because it's off-gassing. So wind actually, you know, the airflow, they've said this too, even the mainstream, right? Open your windows and stuff, and you can sit in a cafe and do this, and you can feel the difference between shops that have low ventilation and shops that have better ventilation, right? So it's off-gassing, right? So, and the reason it's off-gassing is to spread itself, not just because it's off-gassing for fun. It's trying to spread itself. It's incredible spreader. Now, what does this remind you of? And this is part of the epiphany. Fungi and their spores percolating over to other planets, right? Fungi's spores have the thickest shells that they can, so thick shells that they can mitigate the cosmic rays. That's right, and they can percolate out of the atmosphere. They've been detected up in the atmosphere, high up in the atmosphere, fungi spores, particulates of fungi, right? Mushrooms, which are not a plant, right? Don't forget, fungi is different than a plant and an animal. On this planet, we have fungi, plants, and animals, right? And they're three different things, just like you are different to the plants. Look it up. Look up eukaryotes and all that. Anyway, so it's a fungi virus, I realized. This was an epiphany because it was one of those snap moments in your head. That's called an epiphany. That's what organic portals don't have. They cannot have that snap, and that's a high energy DMT snap, because with the epiphany snap always is a vision. Whenever you have an epiphany snap, there will be a miniature vision, depending how big the epiphany is. Say you have a long DMT trip called ayahuasca, where it's lengthened out to 8 hours of DMT, high octane fuel in the brain. Right, remember it's 5-HTP, serotonin, right? Bufotenin, right? It goes all the way up to DMT. Melatonin, the dream, REM sleep, rapid eye movement, visions, rapid eye movement, sleep molecule, melatonin, and then it goes to DMT. So there's a whole chain up. And so the epiphany here is that their energy is being lowered by not being able to feel it. Their sensitivity is being lowered by not being able to feel the coronavirus and getting used to it. Right, we're not talking about herd effect here on your immunity. That's a much lower thing that I'm saying. What I'm saying is a higher event where this stuff is building, as they've scientifically shown, in the air sacs to make people not be able to breathe and need a ventilator at the hospital. But this stuff is building on your nerves. I don't know if anybody has said that. It's building on your nerve ends to make you less sensitive to it so that you pick up more of it, the virus. Do you understand? That's a little evolutionary game it's playing for its survival, just like it's off-gassing, another survival methodology for the coronavirus. This thing is fucking smart, guys. Man, I've been thinking about COVID and coronavirus so much, and COVID is not coronavirus. COVID is the overwhelming and the aggregation to the point that it's like a fungi breaking you down. That's COVID. It's from coronavirus, the virus, but they're not the exact same thing. If I touch coronavirus, I've just touched coronavirus. If I touch a lot of it, I get COVID, right? It's a different thing. And it's not just the overwhelming of your immune system, but it's to the point where it's energetically overcoming your cellular structure to be able to break your cells down. And fungi are known to dislocate their nuclei to where it's most needed in the hive community of itself. Everybody understands fungi by 2021? You damn well should, because we're going to see more pandemics, and we can see the increasing line. I showed that in a video. You should be watching these videos. They're very, very intelligent videos I put out. They're not dumb. This is not back burner stuff that I put out. In one video, there was a line and it shows that pandemics are increasing. That's because we are monotoning the environment, so there's less competition. Like I said, if we put coronavirus out here, it dies very quickly because there's a ton of other viruses, bacteria, bitters in the plants, fungi, everything attacking it. If you put just coronavirus on my skin, there's less. If I have clean skin, there's less attacking it, and so it gets a foothold in my skin, and it's like a fungus, this shit. It's a virus, but it's moving like a fungus. Now here's another epiphany. This is where these little memes come together. It's, remember, post-eschaton into the apocalypse now. I've said that many times on the channel. Watch all the videos once again. I have an apocalypse playlist even. So it's now, I said, the come down from the trip of the eschaton, which is the end of history. Eschaton means the end, and ascension, both in one word. That's what eschaton means. I'm going to write a book about it when I can get to a freaking computer and not be in a tent. If you guys would support me, I'd be able to write this book a lot quicker. And the Organic Portal Handbook. Now, what I was saying was that eschaton was up, said this many times, right? It was like going, when you have a psychedelic trip, you're on a high, man, right? You're going up. That was the eschaton. 2012 was the center of the eschaton, and simultaneously the end of the historical human period, and the robots are coming next. And it's the apocalypse, which means uncovering. Now, coronavirus fits into apocalypse uncovering because we're uncovering why the fuck this thing is spreading so fast. Because we're disgusting and we don't wash our hands enough by all the other disgusting things. When you walk around your home, you're sniffing your roommates or your parents or your brothers, sisters' poo particles in the air from the toilet flushing. Well, you haven't watched a show where they pick up the grease off the wall. No, none of you are washing good enough. You wash once a day, it's not good enough. Did you just go to the toilet 5 minutes ago? Then it's on there, it's splattered. Your poo is around your house. And what's in fecal matter is some of the worst viruses that, you know, can get around. A lot of things ride in animal fecal matter. Anyway, so the epiphany was that the eschaton goes up, and we've been coming down since 2012. It was from 2007 to 2017. That was the 10-year period of the eschaton, with 2012 at the center. And it was a vortex. That's why the 2012 date was so important. And something did happen. And you totally missed it. And we were saying a lot of stuff the whole time. So it's incredible that some of you missed it. Anyway, so we've been coming down now. And what does fungi do? It sits on that channel. Whereas coronavirus are on that same channel. What do I mean? Fungi sits at the end of the life cycle. It's karmically inert. It's karmically inert. It eats dead stuff. It has like no karma. It cleans up dead shit in the environment. The fungi sits on rotting wood, right? Unless it's a symbiotic fungi. Mostly, there are some bad ones. Then it'll sit on the tree, like the mushroom sitting on the tree, making a symbiotic relationship to the tree. The fungi in the roots actually pulling in nutrients for the roots of trees, right? This is the most common thing between trees and fungi. There are some bad fungi that sit on trees, but they're not the most common. They're all those glow-in-the-dark poisonous ones that you can't eat. Most tree fungi that sit on trees are edible. If it grows on wood, mushrooms are edible, except for the glow-in-the-dark varieties, essentially. Look into it. That's meta-knowledge on mushrooms. Now, my point is that fungi sits on the end of the cycle. What have I just been talking about? The end of human history. That's why coronavirus, the fungi virus, I'm going to call it right now, is sitting at the end of the cycle. And that was the epiphany. Plus, the other main epiphany that I already said is what I'm going to more thoroughly explain now, that if you stay away from COVID, you're going to be more sensitive in general to everything, not just COVID. But see, coronavirus, it's going to sit on the end of your nerves, not just block your breathing. The point of blocking your breathing is to shut down systems, right? You breathe into your body and you breathe in life to it. Systems start going and turning and churning. So what it's doing by blocking your breathing is not just trying to kill you, and that's why Delta variant's not as crazy. We didn't have as many percentage deaths because it realized it didn't want to kill its host. It's trying to stay alive, and if it kills where it can exist, well then it's like shitting in your own nest. Like humans cutting down all the trees. That's like shitting in your own nest. We're idiots for cutting down the trees because we need them to breathe, you fuckhead. And food. So it's like that. It doesn't want to kill its host, so it decided to spread more so it could exist more, right? They said Delta variant, and this is true. It spreads more.